Welcome to part 3 of the Life Without Barriers RAP podcast. In this part, we'll look at the third key area of owning responsibility to achieve reconciliation, and what that means to the team at Life Without Barriers. We're joined by Amanda Middleton, the State Learning and Development Manager for Life Without Barriers. Amanda, can you tell us a bit about your role and how learning and development supports the overall RAP?
That is a good question that you ask, and I guess the emphasis is on the word. How does learning and development support the implementation of the RAP? We know that the RAP is about real actions and measurable outcomes, and I guess for learning and development in New South Wales and ACT, one of our focus areas that guides us is from focus area 6 of the RAP. I guess part of our strategy is I've been working closely with Les Ahoy as the state lead for New South Wales ACT Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander initiative, and just more recently around rolling out the introduction to Aboriginal culture training. That is an incredibly important aspect, and to be able to deliver it and reach all staff, and particularly staff who have front client-facing roles as well. In addition to that, we have a case management package, and an important part of that package has been recently the updating of the materials and the resources to focus on Aboriginal cultural support and what that means in practice. For L&D in relation to the RAP as well is about what it means in practice. So in addition, case management, how do we actually engage with Aboriginal people, children, families, community, and also what are our work practices as well. So how do people experience our services? And we need to make sure that our focus in all our materials is one on building respect and having an understanding of culture, context, and building trust and rapport.
Thanks, Amanda. As Amanda mentioned, she'd been working with Les in order to meet the training requirements for the Life Without Barriers staff. Les, can you please tell us a bit more about the actual employment targets Life Without Barriers has in relation to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders?
Our New South Wales RAP, we have set a target of 3.1% of the overall New South Wales staff to be Aboriginal, and that this target was agreed upon in consultation with Reconciliation Australia. Also mention that we currently have 1,607 staff within New South Wales, of which 64 of those I've identified as Aboriginal. We think that number is fairly close, but we also have an issue with some Aboriginal staff not wanting to identify as Aboriginal, so we're not sure if that number is larger than what we currently have, but at the moment we're happy to know that we've got 64 Aboriginal staff there.
Michelle, you mentioned earlier that you like to ensure that staff are engaged in all the programs that are part of the RAP. What are some of the things that you do to get staff involved?
Yeah, I have a few examples that come to mind. The first of which would be the first year after Life Without Barriers implemented their Reconciliation Action Plan. We held, I worked with our National Reconciliation Project Manager at the time and developed an event for our local area, so Newcastle, Maitland, Central Coast staff of all areas of Life Without Barriers and our national office to do a Reconciliation Week event, which was held at our Parry Street office, and the event was to educate staff on Aboriginal culture, the history of reconciliation in Australia, and why it's important we have a reconciliation action plan, what the purposes are. We networked with local Aboriginal services, local Aboriginal businesses and community members to come and present at the event. We had bush tucker served from a local Aboriginal business. We had Aboriginal artists coming to paint artworks with staff to be held in their offices. So it was an event getting everyone together and starting that change and Life Without Barriers being accountable and taking action in ensuring that their staff have an understanding and appreciation of Aboriginal culture and also the purposes of reconciliation action plans and their vision.
Thanks, Michelle. Getting staff involved in all areas of the RAP is key to ensuring its success. We have Amanda with us again now. How does your personal relationship with the organisation and the RAP influence learning and development outcomes for Life Without Barriers?
Personally, I enjoy working with an organisation that I can actually see the word respect in practice as part of an initiative of reconciliation that, through listening to particularly just recently Les Ahoy and his partner Marie talk about their journey, I understand much more on a personal level what it means to respect an Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people's culture, the importance of country, the importance of spirituality, and the impact of history. And for me, that then means when I'm actually developing and working with people around learning resources, that I too then can help weave the voice of Aboriginal children, young people, family, communities and staff into those packages and resources in a much more meaningful way, and one that hopefully is responsive to the needs of individuals and families and communities.
Edward, there are some things that your team is doing inside the office too in relation to staff engagement. Can you tell us a bit about those?
So it is about taking advantage of the cultural days. It is about making sure we've got our reconciliation book at the front counter for people to put down their ideas and thoughts about their experiences on the reconciliation journey. It is about making sure email signatures have reconciliation, included, and that we have, flags up and open meetings appropriately. So I think it's just that normalisation to achieve the objectives of the RAP. And I think the thing that strikes me is that because of the longevity of this plan now, that it's evolved over time, but people seem to know very much about the objectives of the RAP and the types of strategies that go along to achieve that. It's the one area of the strategic direction of the organisation that I think pretty much everybody's on the same page with.
Thanks, Edward. Michelle, can you tell us what it means to you personally working at Life Without Barriers?
For me personally, I've always had a lot of support from my managers and Life Without Barriers as a whole for encouraging education and engagement with our carers and our staff and our families.
Thanks, Michelle. What about you, Greg?
For me, it is really important and encouraging to see that I'm working for a place that really it coincides with my values, that I have a really strong values around social justice and to be working with an organisation that really tries to walk the talk and does what it says is very uplifting. It's a really good place to be working, and I feel very privileged to be able to have the opportunity to be involved.
Lastly, what about you, Les? Having such an integral role in the RAP process, how does it make you feel personally?
For me personally, it's about working for an organisation that not only has the willingness to develop a RAP, but has the willingness and the commitment to implement the RAP. Within Aboriginal communities, we hear about a lot of RAPs are being developed for the feel-good, for the company to look like they're in the reconciliation process. And to us, quite a few of those RAPs are there for alternative motives, not the reconciliation process. But Life Without Barriers has shown that yes, we are committed to the RAP and we are committed to the reconciliation process. That makes life easier for me as an Aboriginal employee and also the other Aboriginal employees also. It makes life easier that when we go out in the community that we can have that proudness about us and the pride within Life Without Barriers. So yes, our RAP is being implemented and these are some of the things that we've been able to do.
Thanks, Les. It certainly does look like the Life Without Barriers RAP is coming to life in a way that both the staff and the community can be proud of. That concludes the staff engagement part of this podcast series. In the next part, we'll look at how the team at Life Without Barriers measures the success of their reconciliation action plan.